Hey yo, what is up guys? Your boy's back and this is going to be my first ever kind of retro review in a way, I guess you would say, like a show that's about 10 years old next month. Summerslam 2012, The Perfect Storm, featuring the main event of Triple H versus Brock Lesnar. And this show, it did a huge pay-per-view number, probably the last big SummerSlam pay-per-view number. It did better than 2013, I know that. But anyways, so this featured Brock Lesnar's second match after the John Cena match at Extreme Rules 2012. Buddy, are you alright? No, my dog, he's messing around. Sorry. Anyways, so yeah, this show, it was huge when it was happening. So real quick, if you guys ever watched my video Camping Stories, I made it last year. It takes place right before this show, like a lot of like the stories I was telling then. So if you guys want to figure out what was going on in my life around the time of this show, there you go. You can figure out all like the camping and stuff I did. Anyways, let's get into the show. Now, this is really freaking interesting to go back and watch shows like this. So let's get into it. So the show, on the pre-show, we had Antonio Cesaro, back before he lost his name, versus Santino Marella, who was the U.S. champ. And yeah, Cesaro, he had some really good wrestling, and they had some really good chain wrestling in this match, but just also some really goofy spots with the Cobra and Santino doing his little walking stuff, which was kind of funny, but kind of dumb at the same time. Anyways, yeah, not much to really say about it outside like the chain wrestling and stuff like that. Cesaro wins. He had Axana at his side, and you can kind of see that he really needed to develop back at that time to get to that main event. Hey, stop barking! Sorry. Stop! Anyways, so yeah, you could tell like with his promo skills, they weren't really up to par at that point, so you can kind of see why he was in that developmental mid-card stage. Buddy! Oh my gosh. Never have a dog. Anyways, so moving on to the second match, which is the opening match of the main pay-per-view, which is Dolph Ziggler versus Chris Jericho, and this was a really, really excellent match. Now, I believe this is probably their second match, because this is right before Chris Jericho went away for the fall, because that's back when he was doing his tours and stuff with Fozzy, and this match was really freaking good. Ziggler, you could tell, like back at this time, he was the man, and you could tell why the fans were just really getting behind him. And the company sort of was getting behind him, but the fans, they loved him, and you can see why with this match. This match was really freaking good. The crowd was popping huge for everything. They had a really great crowd here in LA that night, and yeah, really good match. The whole like story going into this was that Chris Jericho had kind of lost his step, and yeah, and that he managed to get his win back with an awesome lion tamer at the end. That tap out was amazing. And just a solid pro wrestling match right here. Just nothing like crazy over the top, just a classic match in the center of the ring, back and forth between the two guys. Vicky was in Dolph's corner, so yeah, this to me was the best match of the night pretty easily. I really freaking liked this match. So yeah, a lot of people like... Yeah, and they were also doing this whole, like, tout thing, like, oh, make sure you watch tout and stuff, or get on tout and say things, because WWE invested a ton of money in it at the time, and things totally dead now. I looked it up. Anyways, second match of the night, Kane versus Daniel Bryan, and this started the whole Team No thing going into the fall, and you could just see Daniel Bryan's personality just totally coming out in this match, and him and Kane just went out there and had a really good undercard match. This is one of my favorite matches on the show. And yeah, just a really solid Kane hitting the choke slam, looked really good, and catching Daniel Bryan, and just, yeah, I really liked this match too. It's just like you had two really, really good fun matches, and both of them were going places. Like you could remember back at the Royal Rumble 2013 when Chris Jericho came back, and I'll probably end up doing a review of that show leading up to the Royal Rumble this next year. So yeah, so you could tell like a lot of these matches, they had big implications for the future. A lot of these matches on this show. So yeah, leading into the whole Team No Hell No thing, this is really where you can start it. And yeah, so The Miz versus Rey Mysterio. Yeah, again, Rey Mysterio was on this show. I forgot he was a part of the company at this time. Anyways, another really good undercard match. Just solid stuff. Rey Mysterio flying around the ring, hitting his lucha moves. Latino crowd was in huge support of him here. And yeah, I thought this again was just another just solid undercard match. and Miz picking up the victory here, remaining Intercontinental Championship. He's done his best work as IC Championship. I think he lost to Ryback, if I remember correctly. But yeah, another solid match out of the Miz. The start of the show was starting off really good. And then here's where things get kind of weird. Shaemus versus Alberto Del Rio. If I remember correctly, they had 3 matches on pay-per-view. Yeah, I think they had 3 matches on pay-per-view. I think it was Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, and Night of Champions. And this one, it had that weird boot finish, and he hit Alberto Del Rio in the head with the boot, and then he had his leg on the ropes. So that was their whole setup for the next match. And yeah, just a really this match was, again, it was a decent, good match under the undercard. And yeah, nothing really too wrong about it. Like, Alberto Del Rio was a pretty good worker, and Sheamus was also, again, a really good worker. So you just got 2 solid wrestlers going out there having a good match. Nothing too crazy here, just a solid match. Nothing to really be asked, but it's on the undercard of the big show. The main event's supposed to carry the show, so I don't really have too much to complain about here. The matches are going by pretty good here. And next up, here's probably the weakest thing on the show, was the tag team match. Kofi Kingston with R-Truth and Little Jimmy. Can't forget about Little Jimmy. And versus the Primetime Players. And this Abraham Washington guy, he had this whole Kobe Bryant tweet that got him fired from the company. And yeah, that's kind of what the whole thing about this match is kind of memored for. The Primetime Players, you kind of see why they were never really tag team champs. Titus O'Neil, I think he started pretty late, and Darren Young was never really that special. So yeah, just keeping the belts on Kofi Kingston and R-Truth leading up to the Team Hell No stuff. And yeah, it was 2 guys just kind of were in a tag team, and that was really it. There's nothing really too much to say. They both hit some spots, jumping off the top rope. R-Truth looked good. Kofi looked good. Just a tag team match, get him on the card. Nothing too special or to talk about here. Next up, CM Punk versus Big Show versus John Cena. A weird kind of match here. Everything was pretty good. Big Show kind of dominated them for about a majority of the match. And looking back on this, you can just totally see what Roman Reigns kind of said about CM Punk was kind of true. Not an explosive bone in his body. I didn't watch a lot of CM Punk matches just due to me not being really a big fan of the dude. And yeah, going back and watching this, it's kind of funny because you kind of see that he's not really that athletic. You actually watch what he does. And yeah, Big Show, you kind of, in a way, kind of miss him. Just a really good giant to throw in the match, good worker. And he's throwing them around. John Cena, big power spot, lifting up the Big Show. Still just a lot of strength in that guy. CM Punk even almost got the Big Show up. So, yeah, they both have... Oh! Sorry. I've been telling this guy to stop barking every time. That's all he freaking does. Anyways. So, yeah. Finish of the match came with it started with CM Punk and John Cena both having Big Show in a submission. AJ Lee comes back out, restarts the match because Big Show tapped out. Big Show hits a double choke slam, and then Cena hits an FU, and CM Punk steals it from Cena. This is, again, like I said about things earlier, about how everything was leading down to the things down the stretch, and this show really had a big catalyst for things to come. So that's really good about this show, because you remember a lot of these things carrying over into just bigger things. Even the tag match carried over into something bigger for Daniel Bryan and Kane. This match here to John Cena and CM Punk and their feud, and Big Show and his heel run in the fall there. So again, every match on the show just felt like it kind of went off to do something. And now finally we get to the main event, and the main event is weird to say the least, because it's like I don't know how I feel about this match. It was a weird match for me to rate because I always leave the star ratings in the description, and this match was weird to rate. Triple H versus Brock Lesnar. So it had really heavy hitting, and it was a physical match, and you could tell the guys really were trying and working hard. It just, I don't know what it is about the match. It just doesn't, I can't say it was a great match, but I can't say it was a bad match. It's just kind of in the middle-ish of their matches. I don't know, everything, it looked good. They fought hard. They had some really good storytelling elements in the match. It just, I don't really know. I think maybe it was Triple H having to be the sympathetic babyface here, and that might be what was kind of hurting the match. I do not know. I cannot put my finger on what I actually really feel about this match. I think it's good, it's just not great. I think that's the best way to really describe it. I don't think it was as good as the John Cena Brock Lesnar match, which was epic, and this one here, I think that's kind of what hurt the match. It's like, it wasn't like that awesome John Cena Brock Lesnar match. It was a different kind of match, but Brock Lesnar is more of a brawler here, whereas I felt like they were trying to... I don't know. I don't really know. And this match really confused a lot of people at the time because they didn't know where to go with it or how to feel about it, and especially Triple H's weird promo after this. And yeah. So, we'll get into overall thoughts on the show. So, you had good wrestling on this show, and again, I think the buy rate of the show is deserved, even though I think it's just kind of an above-average show. But the reason I'd say, like, it's not bad, and it's like you're just getting some good wrestling on a show. So it's like if you want, and it's SummerSlam, and yeah, I can't. So it's like saying all this stuff from like the weird aspects of it. It's like you had a great opening match, you had some good undercard matches, and a weird main event where some people loved it, some people didn't like it as much. I would have, I remember this show. It's also the catalyst for a lot of things to come. So that's a big bonus about this show, and you can watch it and be like, oh yeah, I remember where everything went and how all the stories played out, everything like that. So yeah, that's kind of what explains the rating. But like, I think I rate it the same as last year's SummerSlam, but I don't know what show I like better. I just, this was just an interesting watch to like have all those memories come back from the summer and time and be like, oh yeah, I remember all this stuff, and I remember Tout. I remember Kevin Rudolph, Don't Give Up. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on SummerSlam 2012. What are your guys' thoughts on SummerSlam 2012? Have you seen it? Did you not watch it? What did you think of the main event? Chris Jericho versus Dolph Ziggler. Amazing match. Anyways, peace out, guys.